Hey everyone, Hailey here, yoga teacher and new owner of Hot Yoga Invercargill. I'm on a mission, guys, and my mission is to demystify that yoga is only for bendy and flexible people by creating a safe and supportive community with caring and passionate teachers. So I've just been taking some time over the last few months to just get a feel for the studio, the day-to-day running, and how that all works, and feel like this is now a really good time to come to you and say hi, introduce myself, tell you a bit about myself and my yoga journey, and also my vision for our studio. When you talk with people about how they came to yoga, they will talk about some kind of injury or a life event that they've had to overcome, and yoga's been a tool that they've used to help get them through and out the other side. I myself coming to yoga didn't have an epiphany or an event or an injury. What I did have though was a friend, and that friend had started at Hot Yoga Invercargill, and she was absolutely raving about it. She, couldn't stop talking about the benefits and how she was feeling, and at the time I was like, didn't pay a whole lot of attention to it. I was kind of like, well, she's found something that she likes and she's happy, and that's really cool. But we did have several conversations, and she one day said to me, Hailey, you should come to yoga. And when I look back on that conversation that day, I do wonder who I was at that time, because my reply to her was, I'm not going to yoga. Yoga is for pussies. So looking back on that now, I cringe, because we know that that's not true. Yoga is not for pussies. But it was also a reflection of my relationship with myself and my relationship with my body. Turns out that I really needed yoga. I just didn't know at the time how much I needed it. So when we were having these conversations, my friend and I, about hot yoga and me coming along, at that stage I was going to the gym about 6 times a week and thought I was pretty cool, throwing around some weights, heavyish weights, working hard, doing all the right things like taking supplements and seeing a nutritionist. And it's not that any of that stuff isn't right or valid. It's just that at that point, I thought that that was the best way that I could take care of myself and my body and my mind. In the back of my mind though, there was just this little thing about what my friend was saying and why she was so excited. She loved it so much. So I decided to give it a go for myself. Came along by myself, and I signed up for the 30-day intro, of course, because it was a pretty good deal, and I thought, well, that's crazy not to take advantage of that opportunity. So my first class was a Vinyasa class, and it was actually really amazing. I enjoyed it. I worked hard. I sweated a lot more than I thought I would, and I also felt very yoga-y. And I know that that's not a word, but that's how I felt. So I left that class and I was like, well, that was actually enjoyable, and maybe I do like yoga. Maybe I can give this yoga thing a go. So the next night I came back to a 26 and 2 class, and my gosh, what a polar opposite experience that I had. When I left the hot room after that first 26 and 2 class, I swore that I was not returning. I was so incredibly angry. I was actually furious, and on my drive home had a lot of swear words to say about the whole thing. I just didn't like it. I just really didn't like it. It wasn't me. But the next morning I woke up and I was like, well, was that class as bad as what I thought it was? Or, what? Like, maybe I should just go back and see if it really was that bad. So I did. I went back the next night, and I think what I realized, or later realized, was 26 and 2 was actually the practice that I really needed in my life. So I suddenly found myself at the end of my 30-day intro, and also found myself signing up to the fortnightly membership option. At that stage, I did still have a gym membership, and I had been sporadically still going to the gym. But what I noticed at the end of the 30-day intro period was that the difference between going to the gym and the difference between going to yoga, in terms of how my body felt, there was actually no comparison. Like, my body felt much better for going to yoga. So I continued, and I had a practice of 3 or 4 times a week, more if I could fit it in. Little confession to make, that sometimes I would have an invitation to go out, or like a dinner invitation, and I would turn it down because I had something on. That something was actually yoga. I just didn't want to miss out. Like, it was just, there was something happening inside of me, maybe in my mind, definitely with my body, and I just didn't want to miss out. I just really felt like it was where I needed to be. So with the regularity of the practice that I had, what I could see quite quickly was, the physical changes in my body. And when you first practice yoga, I think this is the easiest way for you to see the progression in your practice, because you can visibly see what you're doing in the mirror and maybe what you couldn't do initially at the start. So that's pretty exciting. What I didn't count on, though, was the deeper transformation that was taking place, and it was inside of me. When you practice with regularity like that, as well as seeing the physical benefits, there's also, I guess, an uncovering of stuff inside you, in your mind, in your heart. And what I found was that there were perhaps ways that I was living my life, people that I was surrounding myself with, that just weren't really good for me, but probably more importantly, weren't really good for my family. So yoga really helped me to uncover some pretty deep layers of trauma, life conditioning, and just my own bullshit, really. The part that I was playing in my life that I was living at that time. And, it does kind of make you get real with yourself, and you have to, I guess, you just have to get to the point where you're kind of a bit sick of that and you have to make a change. So my journey with yoga there really just, I guess it also helped me to form a deeper connection with myself, and to be able to trust in myself more as well. And as a result of that connection back to me, it has also led me to form healthier and more authentic connections with other people in my life as well. So, these are all really positive things that have happened. And as well as this, my journey with yoga has obviously brought about a lot of other opportunities, and they kind of seem to have all come organically as a result of the decision that I made each time I chose to come through the door and come to my mat to practice yoga. And I really feel like now I'm living a life that I always wanted to live, but I just didn't know how I was going to get there. Now I know that hot yoga is not going to have this same deep significance or the same deep impact in each person that chooses to come to their mat and practice here at our studio. And that's totally okay, because we're all different and we're all on our own journey. What I do want you to know though is that whatever reason you have to come to your mat to practice, your reason is valid. And here at Hot Yoga Invercargill, we support you to come to your mat, to practice for your reason, to get the best out of your practice, to be the best version of you that you can be. I do think though, without a doubt, that when you choose to include yoga as a regular practice in your life, you do so because you understand that deeper layer that's happening. And that deeper layer just makes life easier, you know, it makes things flow better, things feel more aligned. And you just definitely know that there's a difference in your life when you practice yoga as opposed to not practicing yoga. What I've also seen in my time that I've been at Hot Yoga Invercargill, not just as a studio owner, but in total, is that there has been a real separation. We've drifted apart. And a lot of this is through external events and situations that are outside of all of our control. However, what my vision is for our studio is that we are a place where people come to connect and come to heal through the power of yoga. So, pretty big vision, pretty big mission statement, but we have such an awesome community of members already here at Hot Yoga Invercargill, so I don't feel like the vision or the mission is unattainable. So that's all from me. I just want to extend my gratitude to you for listening through to the end. I'm also very excited and I feel honoured to be a member of the Hot Yoga Invercargill community, and I really look forward to connecting with as many of you as I can in the next coming months. So we will see you in the hot room.